have a question for you. The person interested by spirituality, by philosophy, and by self-development ideas. Have you noticed this pattern? You discover a new book, a new mentor, and as you're starting to read his ideas, his books, and you're listening to his conferences, to his speeches, you become in a state of marvel. You say, wow, this is exactly what it seems that I was looking for. And as you're reading it, you get filled by the sensation of peace, of fulfillment, of wow, I was really looking for these ideas, it makes perfect sense. And then you finish the book and the sensation lasts for a few moments, a few days, a few weeks even. But at some points, you just go back to your old ways and everything returns to the same until you find a new book and a new mentor and a new guide. The problem with this is that we have the illusion of growing spiritually by finding new books to read and by finding new gurus to follow and new strategies to implement in our lives. But this is just an illusion and the chasing of the next shining object, which is essentially just postponing the investment that we need to make in any philosophy, in anything, for us to reap the benefits of it. The thing is not about finding the right one, it's about finding one that makes sense and sticking to it long enough for it to enact meaningful changes in our lives. We all are chasing essentially this feeling of this is the one, I found it. We're all chasing the feeling of the high almost of reading something that speaks to our soul directly. We're always chasing that high of new things, of dopamine, of not even dopamine, but we're chasing the feeling of being understood for the first time, always over and over again. But instead of actually implementing what we learn, we're just accumulating new information. And I think like a good parallel for this is the same type of non-growth that one of those people that is super into self-development and personal development and all of that, he essentially is getting that satisfaction of growing through just listening to these self-growth podcasts and to these self-growth gurus, and instead of actually doing the things that he should be doing, that they're telling him to do. Consuming the information is not the same thing as acting on it. But it gives us this illusion that we're advancing in life. It gives us the sensation that we're going someplace, that the information that we're listening to is being used just by listening to it, but that's not how life works. It's not about finding and it's not about consuming the most information possible in a given field. It's about listening to anything, then applying it to your life and seeing if it works. But it requires dedication, and it requires not chasing permanently this high of fake spiritual fulfillment. The most interesting part is that at the core level, any person with a certain degree of enlightenment is pretty much saying the same thing as the other one. This search for a new angle, for new angles, for the right angle is very pointless. Because, and this might be a bit controversial, but it doesn't matter if it's Buddha or Jesus or Eckhart Tolle or Krishnamurti. It doesn't matter, because they all found the same essential truth. And they will all say it in a different way, but they will all say the same thing. They all realize that the only way to find peace and fulfillment is to not try to find it. The only way is to be so involved in the present, in what you are doing or not doing, that nothing else exists. In this moment of eternal presence, where everything is infinite yet passing, there is peace. But the moment you try to attain it, it is lost to you. Now, of course, there's a motive for it to be so many different voices which are speaking the truth. We are all coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different religions, different languages, different contexts, and the message needs different people in order for it to shine through and to touch as many people as possible and to touch all the people in the world. Each person is touched in different ways, and this allows that everyone can find, in a way, their guides. Everyone can find guidance and knowledge that completely speaks to their heart. And this is not even to say that you should not explore as many voices as possible, as many bearers of truth as possible. Because I think one would even argue that that's the whole point of life, is to see the same truth being expressed by so many different people in so many different ways. But at some point, exploration becomes chasing just another hit of spiritual satisfaction. Because being honest with yourself, if you're real honest with yourself, I think you would say that you already know everything that you need to know to do the work. But you would rather be in permanent seeking, in constant avoidance of yourself, than to take the matters into your own hands, than to say that, okay, now I just need to do it. Because this is not soul searching. This, what we're doing by chasing always the next best thing, this is not soul searching. This is active procrastination. It is also a product of consumerism. You just need this one more book, this one more course, this one more item that will finally make you spiritually fulfilled. Buy now at 25% discount. You don't need anything more. You don't need more things. You just need to do them. You don't need more. You need less. More often than not, you don't even need to do anything. The moment after you brought your consciousness to it and your awareness to it, life has its own pace, and more often than not, doing more things will do more harm than good. Because amongst this frenzy of reading more, knowing more, doing more, you might actually be dissolving the actual process that is happening. We're sold this lie that we can speed up anything in life, that we can speed up spiritual healing and spiritual whatever if only you buy this thing. That growth, spiritual growth, is something that can be bought. While quite on the contrary, it's something that occurs quite slowly. It requires its time, and the hardest thing in life is really to accept that it does take time. And then this creates the paralysis of choice. By which philosophy should I start? Which guru should I follow? What is the best way for fulfillment, for spiritual peace, for whatever? The harsh truth is that there is no best way. There is only many ways, and you just decide for anything. You can literally pick almost anything, one that resonates with you somehow, and you just stick to it. There's no right way. This paralysis of choice is, I think, really a problem of, again, this consumerist society, whatever, and it creates this almost anxiety of trying to find the best way, the way that will make me grow the most, the way that will resonate with me the most. There's no such thing, because you will always find that about the next thing that you find. You will always find out about the guy that someone told you about, the guy that is there. You'll always find that somehow. The important thing is to just stick to something when you find something that is valuable for you. So instead of falling for this illusion that you are one book away from nirvana, or that you're not doing enough, or that you're lacking this specific technique, just pick one. Work with what you already know and are doing. Pick one philosophy that resonates with you, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, because at the core, as I said, they're all saying the same. And just stick with it. Really live it. Just really embody, live it completely, what you're reading about, what you're learning about, for at least a couple of months. And I promise it is enough. Usually, even the best philosophies, the ones that really enact some change in my life, at least for me, were the simplest ones. It's really the ones that don't require me to be doing like all of these crazy things. It's just the very simple things. And at the same time, precisely because of that, they're the hardest ones. And if needed, we'll read that book as much as you want. I really recently found out about the power, maybe it's not that complex, but I really found the power of rereading the same book over and over and over again, because it allows you to go very deep within a certain philosophy instead of just superficially knowing them all but not actually doing anything. This to me is a form of mental masturbation, when you're kind of just reading so much and feeling like you're, oh, I'm so spiritual because I know the philosophy of this guy and this guy and that guy, and you get to have amazing conversations, that's for sure. And it's not to say that you cannot know many philosophies and know them very deeply, but that's not really usually what ends up happening. We usually end up knowing a lot of them superficially, but not deeply enough any of them. But remember that you have a long time. Like, life is short, but at the same time, it's long. And in order for you to feel like you are actually changing something, you must be willing to dedicate some time to learning and to becoming different. So really, pick anything, any book, any philosophy, any guru, whatever, and stick to it. Read as much as you want from that. Read everything from that certain philosophy and really embody it for a certain time. And I promise, it will make worlds of a difference. In my personal case, I'm a very curious person, and I'm always craving to know more, to know everything about everything regarding a certain field. But I realized that when it comes to philosophy, and especially spirituality, which is a word that I really kind of hate to use, spirituality, because to me all things about life are spiritual somehow, but let's use the word. Everything that is spirituality doesn't just require knowing. Knowing is a very poor way to approach spirituality. You don't know spirituality. You practice it, you live it. You live it with your heart, with your soul, with your bodies, with your actions, with your words, with everything that you do. You completely immerse yourself in it. That's the only way for you to be living a certain philosophy of the spirit. That's the only way for you to know if it's for you first, and for you to reap the benefits of it. So, if you find a book that was particularly insightful to you, read it once, read it twice, read it thrice, read it as many times as you want, and you will get pretty close to it. You will fail, of course, because we humans are imperfect and we are bound to fail in living a life that is according to a certain ideal. We are very bad at putting theory into practice, but that's normal. And you could still get pretty close to what you want to achieve if you are just disciplined and committed to applying, to learning, to experiencing anything. I invite you then to ask yourself, are you an active procrastinator? Are you actually consciously doing the things that you are reading about? Or are you just jumping around ideas? Ask yourself whether the videos that you're watching, including this one, the books that you're reading, the courses that you will buy, are they bringing the fulfillment that you seek? Or are they just delaying the ultimate face down with yourself?